to Mornings at the Morgue. I am the co-host, Cortland. I am here with the amazing Cole,
Hello.
our resident mortician and musician, as I have just recently come upon that phrase within the last 5 seconds. Invented that one. I'm quite proud of that. So this is our pilot episode, and we are quite excited to be doing this. Let me just give a quick rundown of what this podcast is going to be all about, since this is our pilot episode, and then we'll get on with this week's episode. So we are Mornings at the Morgue, and we specifically are going to be looking at films and music, because those are two types of art that we are passionate about. But my good buddy Cole, who has been a lifelong friend of mine, has led an interesting life. Cole, you can tell your story, but I'll do my best. I might kind of need some help along the way, but you kind of went to school to be an audio guy, and then you kind of had a change in career paths. And yeah, tell the listeners about that.
Yeah. Well, I first started, I actually was a music major when I first started college, and I didn't really know what else I wanted to do. But that's kind of what I started doing, and I started taking some audio classes, started getting interested in that, and then I actually ended up switching to comm because I thought it was a little more smart, a career path for me.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know exactly what I was going to do with that, and so I ended up becoming a mortician, working at a funeral home.
What an amazing change of career paths.
Yeah.
And yet you seem to be taking right off with it, from what I've seen.
Yeah, and how it kind of came about was I just pretty much needed a job during the winter. I had a job that was kind of seasonal, and this guy that runs a funeral home here in Idaho, he just said, "Why don't you come and work for me for the winter?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." Never thought about it.
He saw something in you that you did not know you had in you.
I think so, yeah. And I think he just knew that I needed a job, and so I started doing it and found out that I really liked it. And me and my wife live above the funeral home now in this little apartment. And so anyway,
which I can attest is a true statement. I have been to their apartment. It is above a funeral home. You have to kind of climb what seems to be a precarious set of wooden stairs up to this it kind of almost feels like an annex apartment.
Yeah, the building's over 100 years old, so it's
really
yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if you're a believer in ghosts, but that seems like it would be a place where
spirits would dwell,
where the veil would be thin.
No, I haven't had any experiences with ghosts, but anyway, I work at a funeral home, and then I'm also heavily involved in music. I make my own music, perform, and so I kind of have that connection with music and working at I wouldn't really working with bodies, and anyway, so
you have an experience in your day-to-day life that not very many people have, and it's so interesting. I'll be hanging out with you, and your wife will just be like watching a movie or jamming out with music, and all of a sudden you'll get a call and you'll have to go pick up a body. And it's just, it puts into such stark contrasts, like the activity we're doing and the fact that we could go at any minute. And we've always kind of been exposed to that like element of life, but now you see death, if not on a daily basis, very many times weekly.
Yeah.
And yet you're one of the like most chipper guys on the surface that I know. And I mean, is that real? Do you think? I mean, do you think you're genuinely like this happy-go-lucky guy?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When I was thinking of names for this podcast, I genuinely entertained the notion of naming it the Merry Mortician, because it's like there's such this contrast where we'll be watching this movie and like making jokes and just having a good time, whether it's like a B movie that's kind of not that good and we're just kind of making fun of it, and then all of a sudden you have to go pick up a body and it's like
Yeah.
there's a little change in atmosphere, but then you come back and we have a good time.
Yeah.
Let me just say a little bit about myself. So I am Cort. We're both Cole and Cort. That might be confusing for you guys, but I am also a film and music aficionado, not perhaps to the level of Cole.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Cole.
Say we're on the same level, I guess.
Oh, you're too kind. But I am currently doing some work with in the realm of working with people in third world countries to help them find employment, something I'm really passionate about. I'm really excited to be starting some podcasts, and this is the first one. This is kind of my first bon voyage. I mean, break a glass. Here we go. And I'm super happy to be doing it with my best bud, Cole. Cole has been there for me in thick and thin weather, and he is a true friend. So this week's podcast is specifically Valentine's Day is just around the corner. This week is specifically music at the morgue. Each week we will alternate music at the morgue or movie at the morgue. Sometimes perhaps we'll have a crossover episode where we kind of highlight both. This week is music at the morgue, and with Valentine's Day just around the corner, we thought it'd be fun to do vintage Valentines, and we're going to be highlighting 5 meaningful love songs from before the past decade. So I don't know which one of us wants to go first. Cole, you know what? I've been talking the most. Why don't you hit us up with your first love song?
Okay, so my first love song is actually related to a movie as well. I don't know if you wanted to go into that right now.
Sure. Why don't we introduce that segment? So there's a sub segment that we were going to do as well. So yeah, actually, why don't we do that after the 5?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first one that I picked was "Easy Living" from 1937. It's sung by most famously by Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
Teddy Wilson on piano, and then most famously Lester Young on sax. This song was written by Ralph Ranger, and the lyrics are by Leo Robin. And it was actually written in 1937 for the film Easy Living. And it's just an awesome kind of it's now a jazz standard, but it's just a nice little jazzy love song.
Yeah.
About how, this person that finds that love is so easy, especially with who they have fallen in love with. So I don't know. I love it. And Billie Holiday is such a great singer, and so
true. Facts. True. I love it. And that is your first pick.
Yeah.
Living for you. Easy living, it's easy to live. When you're in love, and I'm so in love, there's nothing in life but you. I never regret the years I'm giving. They're easy to give when you're in love.
So basically what Cole's referencing earlier is we're going to have these little we haven't landed on a title yet, but kind of these little expansion rounds where we'll make this subcategory even smaller. And this week we are narrowing the subcategory by saying, what is a vintage love song that was integral to a film, as well as what is a vintage love song that makes you just laugh a little bit. So yeah, those are the two sub categories. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. Well, cool. Well, I will say my first love song that I chose. It's not that vintage. It is Poison Cup by M. Ward. Have you ever heard this song?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, it's a short little song, and it comes from M. Ward's album Post-War from 2006. M. Ward is the half of the duo with Zooey Deschanel in that famous band. She and Him.
She and Him, yeah.
She and Him. And it's a cool album. He basically says that he kind of had this naive notion that he could kind of through music kind of encourage people to see things differently about war, and he was specifically talking about the wars that Bush Jr. got us into. It's an album where he covers a song by Daniel Johnston. I don't know if you know who Daniel Johnston is. I have a feeling you probably do. He's the
black singer for no.
He's the one who he's the one who he just passed away recently within the last 2 years, and he's the one who sings kind of, it's more like kind of innocent sounding songs. He originally, when he first recorded music, just recorded music on like literal cassette tapes, and they went crazy. People started copying.
Oh, now I remember. Yes.
Super underground.
Yeah. It's the guy that Kurt Cobain, who's a huge fan.
Yeah.
He's the one that wore the shirts. Yeah, he just barely passed. With the frog. He just barely passed away. I think last year or something.
Yeah, I think in the last year and a half or something he passed away. Very interesting life that he led. Kind of a tragic story, but I love his music. But yeah, so they cover one of his songs. It also features guest appearances by Jim James from My Morning Jacket. It has Rachel Bloomberg, who's the drummer from the indie rock band The Decemberists. It has Nico Case. And interestingly, Ward has said the song Today's Undertakings, which is also on the album, was heavily inspired by Roy Orbison's 1963 single In Dreams. So why do I like this particular song on the album? Well, for me, it is a very simple song. It compares love to a poison cup, and it says a sip or a spoonful won't do. No, I want it all. And then it goes on later to say, she said, if love is a poison cup, then drink it up, because a sip or a spoonful won't do nothing for you except mess you up. And I just like the idea of, you've got to go all in with love. You got to drink it all up. And not that it's a literal death, but in a way, there is kind of your past life when you decide to enter into a committed relationship with someone. That past life is gone.
She said if love is a poison cup, then drink it up. Cause a sip
Let's go to number 2 on your, or I guess number 4 on your list. What is number 4 on your list, Cole?
I have to call someone really quick. Hold on.
Okay, no worries. Okay, awesome. All right, everybody, we are back. Cole just got a call. I will spare the details of what the call was explicitly about, but he got a call because they had some last minute arrangements they had to make for someone's essentially their arrangements for after their death. And that is Cole's life, where he is constantly being called on to make arrangements for people after they die. And I don't know if I would have the emotional fortitude to do that, but hey, like I said, I wonder sometimes if the merriment is always genuine. But like I said, he could be nicknamed the merry what's the word? The merry
Mortician.
Mortician. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. All right, Cole. What's
Okay.
your number 4?
Okay, my next one is Rocking Chair from 1975 by Gwen McCrae.
Nice.
This song was written by Willie Clark and Clarence Reed. They were really big into R&B of the 60s and 70s, big songwriters there. This song topped at the U.S. Billboard R&B at #1 during 1975. And this song was an answer, kind of a response to Gwen's husband, who's also a singer. His name was George McCrae, to his song Rock Your Baby. And he actually is featured on the background vocals of this track.
Oh, that's super
And,
cool.
Yeah, you can kind of hear him say, rock, rock.
Dude, I
Anyway,
love stuff
and-
like that. I
yeah.
love finding out stuff like that.
Yeah, so yeah, this song was released on the TK label. It was an R&B label based out of Florida, which is kind of interesting. Anyway,
Oh, cool.
I don't remember exactly how I found out about this song.
Yeah.
Probably just heard it in a record store when I was record shopping, and I actually own this record now. I bought the 45 because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
Just a great soul love song. Just about it's just the song. She's just that she wants to be this guy's rocking chair and rock him away.
Oh, snap.
I just like this. I like this
Yeah.
song a lot. It's just a great soul
that's
song.
awesome. Yeah, and by the way, if you are wanting to take a listen to any of these songs, we will be creating a Spotify playlist, which we will be posting on our socials, and you will be able to basically listen to both Cole's and my list today. So awesome. Good choice. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about the song?
I just like it. It just makes me happy. It's kind of like it's kind of like being in love. That's why I like it so much.
Just rock me, baby. Ooh, in my rocking chair, baby. Ooh, all night long till the morning comes. Just a groove, baby.
Well, my number 4, speaking of Daniel Johnston, it is one of his originals.
Ooh.
It is called True Love Will Find You in the End. And for me, it is a truly youthful, innocent ballad about not giving up hope, and that true love will find you, but that is a promise with a catch. Only if you're looking can it find you. Because this is my favorite line. Because true love is searching too, but how can it recognize you unless you step out into the light? I love that. And one of the things that I love, and I think many people are, drawn to about Daniel Johnston's music, is it's very simple, but it's also very, it speaks to something deeper about the human condition, but in a way, there's just this innocence about it. And this song it came to me at a time in my life where I needed to hear that I needed to get out into the light. And it spoke to me deeply. It's off of his album, Retired Boxer. It is a 7th self-released music cassette album. Like I said, he released his albums via cassette. he was so passionate about music. A really interesting guy. There's a documentary about him. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's on Netflix, and it's super interesting. The album's 9 songs are all performed in Johnson's usual confessional piano ballad style. This is coming from Wikipedia. This album, like those before it, was recorded with a consumer-grade tape player. Evidence of this is found in the warbling tape hiss and distortion throughout. As had been done with Hi, How Are You, Johnston began to give away copies of Retired Boxer to anyone he could. Since he was now living in Austin, these often ended up in the hands of influential figures in local music scenes.
But how can it recognize you unless you step out into the light, the light? Don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end.
Cool. And now, why don't we go to our flash round where we talk about one of our picks for one of our subcategories. Now, you mentioned one that was in a film. Was that your film one?
I haven't mentioned my film one yet, no.
Okay, awesome. Why don't we do that? What is your vintage love song which is prominent in a film?
Okay, it is one that is very special to me and my wife because it comes from my wife's favorite movie. It's a German film called Phoenix from 1914.
Interesting.
And this song is called Speak Low, and it's from 1943. And the version that I have is from the singer Sarah Vaughan. She's a very famous jazz singer.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a live version that she sang at a jazz club. But anyway,
Nice.
this song was originally written by Kurt Well, and the lyrics are by Ogden Nash. It was written for the Broadway musical One Touch of Venus, and it was later
Interesting.
made into a movie called Speak Low in 1948.
Awesome.
anyway.
I have never heard of it, and I didn't even know this, and it's so special to you guys. I think.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of famous people have covered it. It's now a jazz standard.
Awesome.
Billie Holiday, Tony Bennett, Chet Baker, they've all done versions of it.
All the class acts.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's interesting too because the first line to the song is "Speak low if you speak love," and that's actually the opening line to "Much Ado About Nothing" by Shakespeare.
Beautiful.
So it's kind of it's got that love
Yeah.
Shakespearean thing involved in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I just really like the Sarah Vaughan version. It's a live version. It just feels so real. And Sarah Vaughan's an amazing singer.
Yeah.
So,
It's funny that you mentioned Shakespeare because I think Poison Cup, I think that's a Romeo and Juliet reference.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so this is from the 2014 film Phoenix.
Awesome.
It's a really interesting Holocaust movie. It takes place during I won't give away too much of the film.
Right.
Everyone should go see it. But if you can find it, they have it on Criterion, on the Criterion Collection. But it takes place after World War II, and it's about this Jewish girl named Nellie, and during the war she gets her face damaged because of a bullet, and she has to have reconstructive surgery, and her husband thinks that her husband and her got separated, and anyway,
she's dead.
He thinks she's dead, and then she meets her, but doesn't disclose to him that it's her.
He doesn't recognize her.
Doesn't recognize her.
Wow.
And there's this crazy plot that's in it.
You don't want to say too much. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say too much. Like everyone.
Yeah. Well, I'm hooked on the plot already. It sounds like it would be sad but meaningful.
Yeah.
And I can see why it's one of your guys' favorite films.
Anyway, this song, she sings this song because she used to be a jazz singer before World War II, and she sings this song at like a very crucial point in the film.
Yeah.
And so that's how it relates. It relates heavily to the film. So.
Wow. Well, I know what I'm adding to my watch list. Although I don't have a Criterion subscription, maybe I can.
I'll let you borrow it.
Steal one from you.
Well, I have a hard copy actually of the film.
Oh, really? Cool. Well, cool. Awesome. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, just go watch it and go listen to that song. It's a great song. So
obviously dealing with some heavy subject matter, so people have been warned.
We're swept apart too soon. Speak low, darling, speak low. Love is a spark lost in the dark too soon.
Well, I will say mine for vintage love song prominent in a film. You probably saw this one coming from 100 miles away, but it is probably the first one that people think of for a reason. Moon River.
Oh yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's, sung by the
Audrey Hepburn.
The unreplaceable Audrey Hepburn. Music by Henry Mancini. Apparently a studio executive. I could look up his name, but I don't know. We don't need to slander the dead. The studio executive was insistent that it be cut from the film, and Audrey Hepburn said, "Over my dead body."
Dang.
And she insisted that it be put in the film, and now several artists' careers would not be the same if it were not for that song. That song launched other artists' careers who became known for that song. It won the Grammy for the film, and it also became Andy Williams' theme for his show. And it is a beautiful song. That film has a lot of sentimental value. I come from a family with 5 sisters, and it is a film that was kind of on repeat in my home. And while other elements of the film have not aged well, such as I can't remember what's the guy who plays the Asian character. Do you remember?
Oh, Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney.
It's a very racist role.
A very racist Asian caricature. Certain elements of the film have not aged well. However, you cannot look on the angelic Audrey Hepburn singing on her patio, Moon River, and not be moved.
There's a great version of that song that I like by it's a jazz group called Sweet Greens.
Ooh, interesting. I'll have to check that out.
They just put it's just a single, just like the Moon River single. Yeah, it's a great interpretation of the song, and it evokes the same kind of feelings, even though there's no lyrics. Like it's just the music. So it's anyway, very pretty. Yeah.
One lyric that I've always interpreted a certain way, my huckleberry friend. Where we come from, people like to go huckleberry picking, and you don't tell people your spot, because it's like a very treasured thing. And so in my mind, if someone's your huckleberry friend, they are such a good friend that you would tell them where you go to pick huckleberries. And that's
like letting them into like your inner circle almost.
Your most inner circle. I have family members who won't tell me where they go pick huckleberries. I mean, I don't know if I literally do, but that's kind of the thing. That's kind of what I mean by it. And Interestingly, it was originally going to be titled Blue River, but that title was already taken.
The same rainbows and waiting round the bend. My huckleberry friend, Moon River and me.
All right, cool. Well, let's go back to the original lists. What is your next song?
Okay, my next song is by the great Sam Cooke. This is Bring It On Home from 1962.
Nice.
This is off of the RCA label. This reached Billboard's #2 on R&B, and it also reached number 13 on the Hot 100 for that year. And
Nice.
this is just a great classic soul song, love song, about he's just singing to his woman, about just wanting her to come home and just spend time with him. And I don't know, it's
It
similar.
just speaks to you.
It's just similar to the just like the rocking chair song, that kind of that soul aspect of it. It's like makes me happy, makes me want to dance
Yeah.
with my honey. So I don't know, I just love that song. So
Say the title and artist one more time.
it's Bring It On Home by Sam Cooke. And it's
Bring It
cool
On
because
Home by Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke actually wrote like the lyrics and the music too.
Oh, cool.
So and there is a story I looked up. I was kind of researching it, and he wrote it pretty quick, and he just like loved the song, and so he got everybody together last second and like recorded it like late at night in the studio with like a bunch of his friends,
Interesting.
like just on like the music aspect of it, but then he also had like friends just singing like background vocals on it. Anyway, it became a huge hit, and it was kind of like written like not exactly spur of the moment, but kind of like there was like he like knew that he needed to like get people together quick and like record it quick.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
sometimes
cool.
It seems like when the muse comes, you just want to.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the best phrase.
Well, it's like catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. When the muse is there, you don't want to not work quickly. I get that, because a lot of the times I won't, and then I'll forget my creative spark. Well, anything else you want to say on it?
Nope. I just love it.
If you ever change your mind about leaving me behind, well, bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it on home to me. Yeah.
Well, my next song is very special to me. It is Into My Arms by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Nice.
Yes. This is a song that has spoken to me ever since I heard it. I have come from a home where it technically wasn't a multi-faith home, but where there was a difference in opinion, you could say, when it came to matters of religiosity. And yet there was, amidst the hard times, there was also a lot of love. And it's basically a ballad from a man who he's not an atheist necessarily, but he doesn't believe in an interventionist God. He's basically, at most, he's what are they called? A deist. They believe that God basically set the universe in motion and then had other things to do.
and then bailed out. It's like, see you later.
Yeah, basically. So
Okay.
it's hard for me not to want to quote the whole thing. Nick Cave himself this is one of his most proud creations. But one of the most beautiful lines is, well, I'll say the opening line to give you a sense of the song. It says, I don't believe in an interventionist God, but I know, darling, that you do. But if I did, I would kneel down and ask him not to intervene when it came to you. Basically saying, I'll leave you as you are, because you are just how I love you. And then another beautiful line is, and I don't believe in the existence of angels, but looking at you, I wonder if that's true. I just find it a lovely, lovely ballad. Some people say that Nick Cave sounds dark on this song, like he does in many of his songs. I don't get that. When I hear this song, I feel comforted. And when I was kind of at the point in my life where I was more of an atheist, I related a lot to the song. And one last thing that's interesting is he wrote this song while he was in rehab, recovering from a drug addiction which had troubled him for a long time in his life. And he said basically he was trying to make the best of a bad situation. He couldn't sleep, and he was withdrawing from drugs, and he felt very sick. And amidst that turmoil, he wrote this song, and I can feel that it's a song for me of comfort, because sometimes you write the most comforting things when you are experiencing the most difficult things, I find.
And I don't believe in the existence of angels. But looking at you, I wonder if that's true. But if I did, I would summon them together. Ask them to watch over you.
Yeah, for sure. Nick Cave's awesome. He's a great songwriter.
He is.
Have you ever dug into his first band, Birthday Party?
I haven't.
You should check that out. It's like you could definitely you can
It's
see
different.
kind of like he got his wild side because it's a post-punk band that he formed in Australia from where he's from.
Interesting.
Anyway, he's just like really crazy. He's got crazy vocals. Because when he went solo, he started doing more like singer-songwritery things.
He kind of mellowed out.
He did mellow out, but it's just cool to see like when he was young and full of energy, listening to that.
I mean, when he was younger, do you know this? He had the reputation, his band, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, they had the reputation as being the most violent band in the post-punk scene. Yeah. Because they would basically rouse crowds up into basically acts of violence. It was crazy.
Well, you should look up Birthday Party because it's even more crazy.
I will check.
You should do it.
I will check that out. I will check it out.
It's definitely not for everyone, and his solo stuff is definitely more accessible than Birthday Party.
Yeah.
By Little Willie John. This is from 1955. This song was written by him and Mortician John Jr., and it was for King Records, which is it's the same record label that James Brown started his career on.
Oh,
like when James Brown was really young, he was also on King Records.
Yeah.
So kind of like early R&B. This got up to number 5 on the R&B Billboard charts when it came out in 1955. And if you haven't listened to the song, it's great. It's got a great bluesy guitar intro.
I love me some bluesy guitar.
I know. I love it so much. The reason why I love it is you can just hear like not the pain, but you can just hear the passion in his vocals.
The emotion.
He's saying that that he needs this woman's love so bad. Like, I need you to be here in my arms. Like, I'm so lonely. Anyway, I love it. It's great. It's a great
It's
track.
just like raw. It's like it's all there. He leaves it all there on the surface. Yeah.
I need someone's hand to lead me through the night. I need someone's arms to hold and squeeze me tight. When the night begins and until it ends, I need your love so bad.
We'll go on to my number 2. That is The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, most famously recorded by Roberta Flack. This song, beautiful lyrics.
Yeah. It's very somber.
Very slow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, this is a great song. It's a good choice.
Yeah, Roberta Flack said that she wanted it to be slow because when you are well, this is what she said. The tempo and arrangement of the song came as a part of the way I felt the story of the song. When you express your feelings about the first time you ever see a great love, you don't rush the story. And if you listen to she really takes her time and she has such a beautiful voice. But the real reason why this song has significance to me, my late great grandfather, this was one of his, if not his favorite love song. Some people tried to tell him he should be embarrassed because the lyrics are just so passionate, because they say things like, I saw the sun rose in your eyes and the moon and stars were the gifts you gave. But he never was embarrassed, and he always thought this was just peak poetry, and I agree with him. And I love it for that reason. I never met my great grandfather, but he was a good man, a farmer, and I was named after him, actually. So,
wow, I didn't know that.
So yeah, my middle name named after him. So he loved this song, and I have come to love it as well. So, interesting fact about it is Roberta Flack, before she was famous, taught a glee club, and she taught an arrangement of it to the glee club.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And the first time ever I kissed your mouth, I felt the earth move in my hand, like the trembling heart.
All right. Well, before we go with I think we're on our last one. Well, let's do another flash round. Another subcategory. This is a vintage love song that makes you chuckle. Cole, what is a vintage love song that makes you chuckle?
Okay, this this one I found like a few years ago, but I just love it. It's "Stupid Cupid" by Connie Francis.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah, she sings "Stupid Cupid, you're a real mean guy."
Yeah.
Anyway, I love the part that makes me chuckle is she goes, "Hey, hey," something like anyway. Hey, hey, set me free, and then there's a noise that goes boing, like she just like
she's
an
been shot by an arrow.
Yeah. Stupid Cupid,
Yeah.
She kind of does like this. She does this like little hiccup. Stupid Cupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like the sound. It's just a funny sound effect, and it like became a hit for her. once she was recording. I don't even know if I know any other her other songs,
Yeah.
but it makes me chuckle. So
I think my sister may have performed that song for a talent show, but I could be inventing memories.
that's so funny.
So yeah,
And I
she,
can't remember where I heard it. It's probably in a record store,
yeah,
like where I hear like random things like that, or it could have been in a TV show or something, you know.
in the memory I have of my sister, she wore like a poodle skirt, and she sang that song.
Clowns, and I don't feature what you put down. Since I kissed his loving lips and wines, the thing that bothers me is that I like to find. Hey, hey, set me free. Stupid Cupid, stop picking on me.
Let's hear yours. What makes you chuckle?
Mine is "The Book of Love" by the Magnetic Fields. It's a book. It's a song that's delivered pretty deadpan, but I think the lyrics are pretty great, and I quite love it. And he kind of sings it like, "The book of love is long and boring. No one can lift the damn thing." And it's just great. And he basically it's just, he's talking about how the book of love is kind of like this like old mysterious thing, but it's also like this fun song. And
kind of like love, because love can be fun.
Yeah, and old and mysterious too. It's as old as time. And then, but there's also these great lines, like he says, like, "The book of love is long and boring and written very long ago. It's full of flowers and heart-shaped boxes and things we're all too young to know." And just, I love it. And then he contrasts it with the chorus where he says, like, "I love it when you read to me," or "I love it when you sing to me." But then he finishes it with, "I love it when you give me things." And then, but the thing that he says the person who the song is directed to should give him, and I just think it's really sweet, is wedding rings. And just his delivery and just the humor of the song comes through, and it just makes me chuckle. And it is from an album, 69 Love Songs, which contains 69 tracks described as love songs. And yeah, it's been covered most famously by Peter Gabriel, but also was covered by Gavin James, the Irish singer-songwriter.
The book of love has music in it. In fact, that's where music comes from. Some of it is just transcendental. Some of it is just really dumb. But I love it when you sing to me, and you can sing me anything.
All right, without further ado, and I don't know if we necessarily presented these in a particular order, but
I didn't. I just was picking my songs at random, kind of. So.
Yeah, what is your last remaining meaningful song, which is a love song? Vintage Valentine.
Okay, so before I say my last one, I have to mention like an honorable mention. Okay?
Oh, sure.
So it's Blue Moon by Elvis Presley. So he didn't actually write it, but it is a standard now. And there's other versions, like Sinatra did it, and and then like Mel Torme, he did it. Yeah, it's kind of like kind of Sinatra-y, easy listening, kind of like with a big band, kind of almost. Anyway, I just love this song, like the version that Elvis recorded, like it's super lo-fi, and it's just got that Elvis voice.
Yeah.
Blue moon.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like a lot of vibrato. Anyway, I love that one. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was just an honorable mention. It's just a great.
It
love
almost
song.
made it to the list, but it was
Not
hard to
quite.
pick.
Not quite. Okay, so but
Yeah,
from
yeah.
my real last one is "Looking for a Love" by Bobby Womack.
Oh,
Have you heard this song?
I have. I think
Yeah.
you showed it to me once when we were driving somewhere.
Anyway, this is from 1974, and it reached #1 on the U.S. R&B charts. And
Yeah.
this was actually recorded in 1962 when Bobby Womack was in a Cleveland kind of a doo-wop band called the Valentinos.
Interesting.
And so they did it when he was younger. It didn't get as big, and then later in his career, Bobby Womack kind of took it out of the catalog and like kind of redid it like the way he would want to do it, you know. Anyway, it's very 70s, it's very it just makes you want to get up and dance, and like he's got such a soulful voice. It's awesome. He's just like, I'm looking for love, and it's got like this really bouncy bass and drum thing that just makes you want to dance.
It would have a hard time not dancing.
Some of the lyrics haven't really aged well.
Oh,
because it's a song from the 60s, and
some of them are like a little racist.
Not racist, but just about like women.
Sexist. Oh,
like,
gotcha.
Little sexist, but
yeah,
it's like
it's hard not to find. I mean, you'll run into that, right?
But the
you're not endorsing that, but you're still saying it's a jam.
But it's a great song. Yeah. Anyway, I just have to preference it with that. But anyway, that's my last pick. So.
For my last pick, this is a song near and dear to my heart. It is a fun one as well. It is Friday I'm in Love by The Cure.
Oh yeah.
And I've always loved the sound of this song. It's pretty acharacteristic of The Cure if you know the rest of their music. They're kind of more of like a gothy kind of, emotional kind of, that's kind of more of their sound. And then all of a sudden they have this like poppy kind of naive sounding like basically fun song about like being in love, and Friday I'm in love. And why is it one of my all-time most meaningful love songs from before the past decade? It is for this reason. I like to think of it as being and I know maybe this isn't what it means, but this is what it means to me. If 1/7 of your life is worth living, then all of your life is worth living. Because he goes through and he says all the rest of the days can be bad and bleak and horrible. I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't care about you. Thursday can be, you can stare at the wall. Saturday always comes too late. And, he goes through and says why the other days can be horrible. But if 1/7 of your life, I mean, that's not even 50% of your life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as someone who has struggled with mental health, like, let's be a little vulnerable here for a second. Like, let's get real here for a second. As someone who's struggled with mental health for a good chunk of my life, that is a hopeful message, because it tells me I should stay alive for my Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
I should stay alive for that person who is going to be there. And to me, even though it comes across as a little bit of a naive song, it's actually a very powerful song. And
that's cool. I wouldn't have thought of that. That perspective is cool. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's like almost like and it's also, you can even find another meaning in like, even if I only like, and even if like this love or like something that I'm feeling right now, even if it only lasts a little bit, it's like
Is
worth it.
impermanent. Yeah.
So like, and it kind of relates to like just like our different people that we meet and the relationships that we have.
Yeah.
It just like, to me, that also speaks to like trying to make the most out of relationships, and that even if they're not going to last a long time, like you can find a lot of joy in life through relationships.
Yeah.
So yeah, similar to what you were saying.
Well, and it's interesting as you speak, I'm looking at the background that I mean, it's a virtual background, but I mean, it's literally mortuary science thing. I don't know what it's called. What is
just for the listeners
an embalmment thing
that can't see, I just have a background of like an embalming room. So
yeah.
It's just the room where we prepare the body.
Yeah. So you might be saying like, why is a podcast about culture focusing on like the fact that it's being led by a mortuary scientist? But the thing is, like, it's because it brings into stark relief, why do we care about these things? Why do we care about songs and movies? And I think part of it, I mean, there's lots of reasons, but part of it is like this song, they can serve as a reminder to appreciate what you have when
they get us through crap, Cort.
They get us through crap.
They get us through life.
They get us through
trials.
So that when you end up on a slab with the merry mortician pulling your blood out of your veins, you're happy with the way things went.
Yeah.
And that's a good place to end.
Monday you can hold your head. Tuesday, Wednesday, stay in bed. On Thursday, watch the walls instead. It's Friday, I'm in love. Saturday, wait. Sunday always comes too late. But Friday never hesitate. Dressed up to the eyes, it's a wonderful surprise to see your shoes and your spirits rise. Thrown out your frown and just light up the sound.
But actually, we have 30 more minutes, and maybe we should just shoot the breeze. But one quick fact about Friday I'm in Love. The opening line, I don't care if Monday's blue, is a reference to the New Order hit, Blue Monday.
Blue Monday, yeah. And did you also know that in the UK, Blue Monday is supposed to be the most depressing day of the year? It is the third Monday of the month of January.
I did not know that. Thank you so much, actually, for telling me that. That's super interesting.
So that's how New Order came up with the title of that song and like why it's called that. And I learned that because of Instagram. I follow this super interesting Instagram account called it's called The Depths of Wikipedia, and like they just post like the weirdest things, like the most obscure things that I found on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And one of them was Blue Monday, and like what
interesting.
what that is.
Well, Cole, so why don't we talk about kind of our vision of this podcast? So we're going to alternate each week. Are we going to do lists a lot? I mean, lists are fun. They're always fun.
Yeah.
But like, what else? I was kind of thinking with the movies, we could sometimes watch a film, not live on the podcast.
Right. But we could come back and share our thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking the exact same thing. And also, you know, this should open up to also the listeners. Maybe you guys can chime in and tell us what you want to hear more of. What you guys like and what you don't like so much about the podcast. And maybe we can try to make it a little bit to more what you guys want. And we're open up to any questions. You guys can always ask us any questions you want. You can always message us, drop us a line, and maybe we'll have your question featured on our podcast.
That is an excellent point, and one I'm glad you brought up. I feel like I've been doing this weird podcasty voice, and if that has been bothering you, let me know.
You need to chill out, Cort.
I know. But no, I think it's just fun, and I'm excited. And yeah, my vision for this podcast is that, I mean, for now we're going to focus on film and movie. I mean, that's the same thing, film and music. But if occasionally we want to expand it to other works of media, I'm fine with that as well. Like if we wanted to do an episode on like, hey, what about this graphic novel, or what about this, whatever TV show, or
Yeah.
which I would almost put under the film category, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think people could also, again, like, you guys should send in some recommendations of what you want us to talk about. And I know I'm a mortician. You can even ask me some weird questions about that. People are always very intrigued about what goes on in a funeral home. So we could also talk about that. And anyway, how music helps people cope with death, or different things like that. We could talk about that too. So.
Well, cool. Well, we're just about out of time. Do you want to tell people about any projects or things that you're working on?
Yeah, I got this musical project called Blood Cannery. You can follow me on Instagram, just at Blood Cannery, and I have some music on Spotify already. I have a full album coming out soon. Just kind of mixing things, and I will be releasing 2 new singles. They're just covers for Valentine's Day. So you can also look out for that. Yeah. So that's kind of the music aspect of what I got going on. So I'm excited about all the new music that I'm going to be putting out. So.
Cole is always so humble when it comes to his musical talent and his ear when it comes to sound. He's got a really unique ability, and I really mean that. And then as far as my projects go, I've got a few things lined up. I am doing this podcast, which I'm super invested in, super happy to be, doing this with Cole.
Yeah.
And I also have a few other podcasts that I'm going to be launching, and excited to talk about those more. I have more things in the works, but yeah. Cool. Well, this has been fun, Cole. Any parting words, any parting messages on this Valentine's episode?
I just say, hope everybody enjoys their Valentine's Day with people that are important to you in your life. Mm-hmm. And again, just drop us any recommendations or questions that you might have, and we will get to those on the next couple of episodes. So thanks so much for listening.
And I would just add to that, if you did enjoy this episode, or if you at least think that it holds promise, the best thing that you can do is whatever platform you are listening to us on, go ahead and leave us a review, because that is the number one way that we can influence the algorithm to get our voices out there. And thank you so much. We're very, very humbled that if you've made it to this point in the podcast, stuck it through to this point in the podcast, we're very humbled that you would listen to us. And thank you so much. Have a happy Valentine's Day. I hope it is a happy time for you. And yeah, goodbye. See you next week. We'll be doing movies at the morgue.
When you speak loud, our summer day